Well, hello, and welcome to the Holmes Cinema Clues, Masks, Mirrors, and Media, a show where film, television, and theater become a lens for understanding neurodiversity. Here, we go beyond the screen to explore the characters who mask, mirror, and struggle to belong, often hiding in plain sight. Join our hosts Dan and Dr. Stephanie Holmes as we invite you to step into the role of cinema detective to examine how autism, ADHD, and other neurodivergent experiences are portrayed in the media. This isn't therapy. It's not diagnosis. Rather, it's thoughtful conversation mixed with cultural analysis for a deeper look inside the stories that shape how we see ourselves as well as one another. So, settle in, sharpen your lens, and get ready to follow the clues with your hosts, Dan and Dr. Stephanie Holmes. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Hey, do it to my face. You got a pen? We're at 75 Spring Street, 8th floor. Come on by. We validate. Good talking to you too, Senator. Hey. I'm talking to you.
Yep. I'm Richard. I'm sorry. I was listening. I didn't mean to be rude. I wasn't raised like that.
You always start every sentence with I.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm the supply room clerk.
He's dropping on me.
No, sir.
Well, good. I need some more tape, so get on that.
Yep. About that, you're going to want to check the second drawer down, sir. Tape and in your box of pens. I saw you were running low.
What's that?
You might want to check the next drawer down. The one on the bottom.
As you know, I like Snickers.
You liked them because I saw you had the wrappers in your trash can.
Don't go in my trash. Nobody goes in my trash. What's your name?
Richard Jewell?
No, I'm going to call you Radar.
Like from MASH?
Get out.
Well, every story has a subtext, and every character has a code. Where some see a script, we see a pattern. I'm cinema agent Dr. Stephanie Holmes. I'm an autism researcher, autism specialist, neurodivergent ally, and today you just saw Richard Jewell, released December 13th of 2019, directed by Clint Eastwood. It tells the true story of a security guard who discovers a bomb during the 1996 Atlanta Olympics and help evacuate civilians, saving lives. Initially held as a hero, he was turned into a villain. And that's why my colleague today, Dave Glick, who is a colleague and a profiler and so much more, he is going to help us with a case file hidden in plain sight based on the real story of Richard Jewell. Is Richard Jewell on the autism spectrum is the case to solve today. So welcome to the show, Dave. I'm so excited you brought this movie to my attention. What do you want to share from that clip?
Well, after I saw the film, and it was something I was always very interested in. I'll never forget waking up that morning in 1996 to seeing a bomb went off at the Olympics. And I was living in Boston. It was before I became a Atlantean, which I've been for almost 30 years now. I'm a son of the South at this point. But when I saw the film, it was very clear to me that neurodiversity was present. And so many very concrete, very clear examples of what had happened. So if you just look at that introductory scene where they're setting the stage, you see soft signs of neurodiversity. You see odd social skills. You see him having a weird concept of boundaries, going through the person's garbage, which is actually very, very common among my patients who are neurodiverse, that things that some people consider trash, a lot of neurodiverse people consider a treasure. Now, granted, people feel a little weird. It's a boundary thing going through my trash, but it is trash. And he found a pattern. He realized that Mr. Wright, one of his attorneys in the end, liked Snickers bars. So he stocked his drawer with Snickers bars and Scotch tape. Again, you're seeing an obsessive compulsion with details. and very concrete things that help, even though it may come across as odd to other people. So that's only one of many examples we see in the film, but I think it's interesting that Clint Eastwood, who's an amazing filmmaker, set it up that way. I mean, it's a true piece of cinematography as well.
Yeah, so he's noticing patterns. He's picking up on patterns. He's noticing things. And a lot of times, since I work with relationships, the neurodivergent partner and kind of looking at patterns, I noticed you like this, so I'm going to get this thing, this trinket or this whatever for you because I noticed you like it. And this is my way of communicating. I see you, or I want to be in a relationship with you, or I've noticed something about you. And so sometimes that can look like stalking behavior.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a very good point, that it just so happens that he had a few different attorneys. The film made it look like he just had one. He actually had several. But that was Wilson Bryan was the first attorney he met when he was working with him at I believe it was a government agency. But you see, he did that was his way of forming a relationship. And if you see, I mean, Mr. Bryan confront him. Why do you start every conversation with I? You see him not making eye contact at different times. Also the looking down, the anxiety, but still the need to attach. Now, one thing I think it's been lost from the conversation in our space right now, because things are moving so fast, a little too fast, it's important to remember that when we had the diagnosis of Asperger's, which is now gone, versus high functioning autism, they were separate in DSM for a while, is one of the big distinctive items was that someone with Asperger's wanted to connect with other people, but didn't have the social skills to do so, which you see with Richard Jewell. He very much wanted to connect to people, but his social skills were off. But he was so charming and harmless that it did break through with some people, whereas someone with high functioning autism has no desire to connect with other people. Now, no one's discussing this anymore. It's now been put in the trash bin of history, which is happening a little too fast. But that was clearly the case with Richard. He very much wanted to connect with people, and he, lacked the skills to do it in a traditional way, so he did it in an untraditional way.
Yeah, and I think in this, what looks like is going to come up on the next clip. So Richard notices things. Let me supply this for you. We're going to see in the film a very core piece of his identity is protect and serve. He takes protect and serve very, very seriously as a belief, as a rule, as a concept, and how you treat people. And so that first clip that you showed is him trying to enter into the lawyer's world. And I think this next clip is going to be like the lawyer trying to enter into his world a little bit.
Absolutely. And you got to remember, being a police officer and being a lawyer are more similar than people know. That, the police officer is an agent of the Constitution and whatever state laws you have too. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll play it right now.
Pretty tough crowd to run with here. All nervous coming in.
How you doing, sir?
Don't worry, I come here often. Nice shooting, Radar.
Thank you. It's actually kind of like practice for my future in law enforcement. The APD, FBI, maybe Secret Service.
What the hell should we do that for?
Because I believe in protecting people, sir. I study penal code every night.
Sounds like a humdinger of a night.
So, yes! Oh. Yeah, it's not bad. You got some beginner's luck.
Yeah, what's wrong with 9700?
And nothing's wrong with it for first time.
First time. All right, come on, let's go.
Oh, they only give me like 30 minutes for lunch. I gotta head back in there.
Shut up. You could say you're with me. Let's get it on.
Oh, shoot. All right. You ready? Yes, sir. Let's see what you got, hot shot. Yep. I mean business too. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
many things there. Where do you want to go?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head that Mr. I always get his name. I always think of Lynn Wood, but the other lawyer who's profiled here is, I want to get his name right, I'm sorry, is Wilson Bryant. Is that right? He entered his world. He was so impressed with the Snickers bars, the tape, and other behaviors he saw that he wanted to enter his world. And what you also see is a soft sign, him saying, I study the penal code every night. That I've been a police clinician for over 30 years, and I have a lot of seasoned police who don't know the penal code that well, and they get into trouble when they don't. So what we also see there is kind of a breadcrumbing of, if I like something, I have to know everything about it. I have to study it ferociously as well. And you also see how naive he is too, and the gullibility as well, which is common in the population too.
I see you also, because this takes place in Georgia. There's that Southern upbringing that sometimes those of us raised in the South, we say ma'am and sir, and hierarchy is very important. We are taught that at a very young age about ma'am and sir and chains of authority and all of that. And here he is also wanting to be a police officer. So chains of authority, rank and command are very important. And so he kind of keeps that even with this lawyer isn't technically his boss, but that deference of sir and the Southern culture and kind of being himself, that gullibility, you kind of see all of that playing in here too, with, you know, how he's even interacting with, and I've got to get back on my break, right? Because I've only got 30 minutes. I've got to get back in there because I'm going to keep to the time and keep to the rules, because that's what I do. I protect and I serve and I follow the rules. You kind of see that in him.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's two components to that I think matter. If for people who have watched the film, is that even when it's very clear he's a person of interest and he's answering every question without representation, and people are saying, why are you doing that? It's clear that they're trying to finger you for this bombing. He said, I was brought up to respect authority. Even you see, and that's part of the social skills. He may know the penal code, but he doesn't understand that even though this is a belief he has, that sometimes it can be used to hurt you. He doesn't have any cognitive flexibility with that. And I was brought up to respect authority, and there was another component. But yeah, I think that's a big piece of it as well.
Because you'll see that through the film right here. He's like, I want to be a part of the APD, the Atlanta Police Department, or the FBI. So like APD is like, whoa, that's a career, but FBI, like, if you're in the FBI, that's the ultimate protect and serve. And you're going to see in the film, the FBI did not protect and serve. No. It manipulated his desire and who he was against him.
Yeah, the FBI did go against him. Now we'll talk about that too, that I've had many patients over the years, consultation cases, where I've had people who are neurodiverse, who are either in the military or in police work, more so the military. Police work, depending on what kind of police department you're in, whether it's federal, state, local, but certainly the military. Now let's look at the component of that if I'm neurodiverse and I can't read your subtle cues, I can't read your facial expressions, that's going to be very hard for me because it's abstract, it's not concrete. But I can look at the number of stripes on your arm. So for a neurodiverse person, if you're in the military, you're given social skills. This is how you interact with different people at different ranks. So of course, what you do is when someone comes up to speak to you, you look at their shoulder, you see the number of stripes, and that tells you what you can say or not say, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. We don't have that in civilian life. We have that in military and paramilitary environments. So like I said, and there's different types of police work, but I've seen many neurodiverse people thrive in the military.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The rules, right? I had an uncle His joke was, I worked for the U.S. Postal Service, then I went into the U.S. Navy, and then I worked for Delta. Always knew what to wear. There was always a training manual, and I always knew how to interact with those around me, because those three things carried that similarity of rank, training, and how you speak to whom and what you wear. It was all outlined for you in the U.S. Postal Service.
That's very soothing. I mean, there's a saying, structure binds anxiety. I mean, all I do when I teach social skills to people is I structure something that seems structureless. See, so if I can structure something which appears to have no structure, the anxiety level is going to plummet. The person's, if you want to use a polyvagal approach, they're going to go into a ventral state where they can do their very best work, or a flow state. So I know exactly where the lines are and what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to act as well. I mean, one of my clinicians named John Mark Parker has a big theater background. And he said the way he could spot a neurodiverse actor was if you ask them to do improv and they get angry and agitated, bang, you just figured it out. They need the script. And there were so many actors who clearly were on the spectrum that people, I mean, now they're coming out and talking about it, but many who have already passed away, clearly to me, it was very obvious to me they were on the spectrum.
All right, what's next?
Okay, let me.
Mr. Bryant?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
I'm a little busy. Not a good time. So
Yeah,
we'll talk later.
I know you're busy. I just wanted to come by to let you know I'm not going to be working here anymore. Came to say bye. Got a new job doing security.
Okay.
So that starts tomorrow.
All right. Hey, good to see you.
I wanted to give you something before I leave. Just to say thank you.
Hey. Okay. Hey.
I noticed you were running low. All right.
Hey, come here. You got enough money?
Yeah, I guess so. Why do you ask?
This comes with a quid pro quo. You know what that is?
Yes, sir. Quid pro quo is Latin, this for that.
That's right. Well, this comes with a quid pro quo, fair exchange. So here's the deal. When you get your badge, and I can see that day's coming, don't become an asshole. You got me?
No, sir. I won't become an asshole.
A little power can turn a person into a monster, Richard. Don't do that. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get that back to you the first paycheck I get, sir. I'm gonna pay you back with interest.
Okay. You do that.
Okay, so we see various things here that also are very telling. For one, we see that Mr. Why do I always get it? Is it right? I'm sorry, Mr. The attorney.
Yeah, the lawyer guy.
Mr. Bryant says, "Don't become," and I'm not going to say that word because you're a Christian. When you get that badge, don't. Be, and he was bewildered. I don't get you. I don't even understand what you're talking about. You see how he's not getting the and you also see again the lack of eye contact. That when speaking, he usually looks down and won't make eye contact with him. So you see the naivete there as well, and the inability to grasp certain abstract concepts. Now, I just had another breakthrough that you can make the case that this film is a remake of the film Shrek.
Huh.
That if you look at the film Shrek, he was supposed to be an ogre. He looked a certain way, he acted a certain way. So people attributed all of these negative attributes to him when actually they were the one who were acting like ogres in the film Shrek. You can make the case it's the same thing here, that, you know, Richard Jewell has a particular look. He has a particular behaviors people are attributing things to, but it's really a reflection on them. The abuse of power, the being the word he mentioned that he couldn't get. See what I'm saying? So we see a lot of parallel themes. So you can make the case that this was a modern day Shrek. When in the end, the person who was supposed to be the ogre actually was a prince. Actually was a wonderful, loving, warm person, but misunderstood.
who again, his whole purpose is protect and serve. So he can't fathom using a badge or power to hurt people. His only intention is to help, protect, and serve. I mean, he
Right.
says protect and serve so many times throughout this film.
Yes, he does. Yep. He
All right.
thought that if someone was an authority figure, there's no way they can do harm.
Right.
He just didn't have that, couldn't understand that social concept.
All right. I think, is the college one next? I hope the college one is next.
We will see.
Let's see. Surprise.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
Dumbass. I got flustered. Shut the door.
Thank you. Nice try, hot shot.
It's that rent-a-cop. Shit. Open it. Yes, officer?
I heard a little noise complaint. Thought I'd come take a look
I
around.
think you're going to need a search warrant first.
Son, you don't have to take your hands off me. I'm just taking a little look.
Well, you're not even a real cop, first of all, and you're not allowed to search a room without a warrant.
Boy,
We pay rent. We pay rent. It's like we live here, man.
boy, this is my job. I'm gonna have you let me do my job,
And this
Curly
is our
Q.
room. Yeah. Are you aware of the notion of unlawful search and seizure? Asshole, you're not supposed to just walk in here.
Keep pushing me. Keep testing me. See if you like where it gets you. You all right? What did I say? Freshman orientation week. I said no drinking on my campus.
I don't know why no one called my attention to your file before. I mean, all these complaints about you, physically assaulting a student, and have you really been pulling people over on the highway?
Yes, sir, I have. I figured that if you do the drunk test on the road, trouble never gets to campus.
We don't have any jurisdiction on the highway.
And I realize that, but I believe in law and order, sir. You can't have a country without it.
You were dismissed from the Habersham County Sheriff's Office.
I don't want any Mickey Mousing on these grounds. Isn't that what you said?
When did I say that?
You said at Founders Day last year, I believe. You were by the punch bowl. I walked up to you and you said to me, well, I had interrupted you. I apologized. I introduced myself and I said I was going to be the greatest campus security guard you ever had. And you said, that's good. I don't want any Mickey Mousing on this campus. I think I might even wrote it down. I write down most things. I keep the important ones. And I believe, oh, yes, sir. I don't want any Mickey Mousing on these grounds. Those are your words, sir. So I took it seriously. And now my question for you is, what about these kids in the dormitory drinking and all that? What you gonna do about that? We're just gonna let it slide?
Do you want to resign? Or would it be better if I fired you?
Okay, so we see a lot of things happening here. Richard Jewell reminds me of another, my dear sweet me. What you saw him do there, for some reason, I did that a lot in high school and somewhat in college, my undergraduate years. Taking things very literally, not understanding the subtleties of it. That when we first met Stephanie, we had lunch at one point. And I told you about an incident with my high school English teacher. If he's watching this, it was Mr. Pavlak, Henry Pavlak. Hank, if you're watching, I'm apologizing to you now 40 years later. But for example, there was an article, and I've always been a news junkie. So there was an article, and he would consume the penal code. I would consume news. I read Newsweek, the New York Times, the local paper. And so there was an article stated in the New York Times stating that most public school teachers scored in the lowest percentile on standardized tests. And I decided to bring that up in front of the whole English class in front of him. And I couldn't understand why after class he tore into me verbally for saying it. Like, but it said it in a newspaper. It said it here in the New York Times. Why are you so upset? I didn't understand just because someone said it, or it may be true, that you have to say it. He couldn't understand, as much as he wanted to be the best campus police officer on the planet, but he couldn't get his head around the soft skills, the things that were not concrete. Now, what's significant to note is that he would not have been fingered as a suspect. It was the president of Piedmont College, who, when Richard was being heralded as a hero, who called the FBI tip line and said, no, that's your bomber. That's when FBI went after him. Now, for everyone's information, when all was said and done, and the lawyers got their fingers in there, he got a massive settlement from Piedmont College. Piedmont College, and the college president had to pay him a significant settlement of money for doing that. Again, Richard was a victim of the times he was in. That I had just entered the field in '96. That was the year I finished graduate school. And I've been working in the field of learning disabilities, ADD, and also autism, but nobody was calling it that. Is that his odd behaviors were attributed to other things that weren't really there. That if this had happened today, while he was being interrogated, one of the investigators and detectives, not all of them, but a few of them, would have said, look, I think this guy's on the spectrum. I think and it's either because they attended a training about it, or they have a child themselves who's on the spectrum.
Absolutely.
And then it would have been a very different situation. So again, the times you're in impact what can happen to you as well. So it was a lack of awareness, and people were attributing antisocial behavior to him. I mean, the big word that the college president used was a zealot. He's a zealot, which is a nice word for an extremist, and it's not a compliment.
Absolutely. So what I want to do is I want to pick back up here for our next show, because Richard Jewell had so much stuff in it. I knew this was going to be a 2-show deep dive, because these clips don't, because I want to have more conversation about this. So I want you, the listeners, come back to Home Cinema Clues, where I will be joined by my profiler here, Dave Glick. We're going to continue on with Richard Jewell. This show was a wrap. Come back for part 2.